How's it going, guys? Today we have a Nintendo Switch from a customer that the complaint is it is not charging any longer. It won't power on. So we're going to take a look at a couple things and see what is happening with this Switch. Let's plug it in, and no voltage, nothing happening. So definitely not good. There's a couple things that can cause this issue. You can have a pin or two crooked in your charging port. The M92 power IC chip can be bad, the BQ chip for charging the batteries. So there's a few things that we're going to take a look at to diagnose what's going on here. So the first thing that we're going to do is get the PCB out of the system or the shell. That way we can work on it outside of all the plastic and stuff. And that's the M92 chip. And we're probably going to end up replacing that, but let's check the port first. I'm not seeing anything that draws my attention. Looks clean. All the pins seem to be straight. So my bet is going to be that the M92 power IC chip is what we're going to replace. So let's start doing that. Alright, so let's get the hot air station going here. And you'll see some of the factory flux coming out from underneath. And this chip's just going to come right out without any issues. Get a little bit of flux on there. So what we're going to do here is re-tin up all of these points with leaded solder, and I'm going to switch my smaller tip over to I'm going to do a hot swap on my Weller soldering station and get a larger soldering tip to remove the unleaded solder from the factory and replace it with leaded solder, which is going to, of course, look better, and it's going to be more reliable solder in the long run for what we're doing. And we're just kind of cleaning up with a brush here and some 99% isopropyl. And here we go. We're just going to tin up all these points, clean it up, and get everything ready for the new chip that we're going to put in. And you can see here the Amtech 559 tacky flux at work and how incredible it is at getting all that solder into the points it needs to go to. Do a little painting with Bob Ross here for a second, get that flattened out in the middle. And now we're going to float the chip into place with the heat gun, with the flux, and a little bit of alignment along the way. And keep in mind that circle needs to be in line with that arrow up in the upper left. So there is an orientation to the chip, so just ensure that you remember that if you do this job, because it will not function if it is not correctly put in place. And we're going to give it a little bit of a nudge to the left. Sometimes it doesn't work perfectly, but it's going to float itself right into place because all of those points underneath, there's about 40 of them, they're all going to attach to the solder points. And we'll go over it here and ensure that we get all this soldered together. And one thing that I didn't actually do in the video here, just because I was kind of, pushed for time, you want to push down on the center of the chip, heat it up, and get rid of the air pockets underneath for the grounding plane that this is connected to. I did do it, and you could kind of see if you go back through the video some of the air bubbles that came out with the solder. So that is done, and we're just cleaning up the chip here. Everything's looking fantastic, and I do like to clean up after every step. If possible, or if it's needed. Flux is pretty, it's messy, and yeah, just keep that in mind as you go along. So let's test it. We should see 15 volts reading on our universal tester here, and it looks good. 15 volts after putting that new M92 power chip in, and that's it, folks. We get this back together and everything's going to work great. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.